Hello and welcome to today's daily news analysis. So today is 4th of March 2022. We are covering the Hindu newspapers Delhi edition. Now as part of our initiative, I make it a point to share questions for mains answer writing practice, and you can get these questions, you get your answers evaluated with me for free. So 2 answers per week, and you can share your handwritten answers with me on my Telegram or WhatsApp, right? So the link is there in the description box below. You can reach out to me. And if you have any doubts, you can just write down in the comment section. I'll revert back to you. Now today we have news on Ukraine. Naturally, we have news on Ukraine, and I have shared some questions. I have already covered them, but just for contextual understanding, I am resharing those questions. Then this is a topic that is important for your prelims, right? So Andhra Pradesh government not able to change their capital, so which provisions? Again important for prelims. And this is a question, this is a topic that is important for applied ethics, GS4. So make space for new science. We have to talk about the new sciences, new developments that are taking place from the point of view of ethics. Is it ethical or not? So I have shared the question also on this. So the first question today in the community section or on my Instagram page, it is this, and then the question on COD. Okay. So this is the first news, and we have a news with reference to obviously Kharkiv. So President Putin is saying that in Kharkiv, what he saw, the Russians have been able to invade Kharkiv. They say that they have acquired the city, they are controlling it. So they are saying that they found that there are many foreign nationals, be it Indian, Chinese, Africans, they have been taken as hostage. By whom? The Ukrainians. Now, maybe it is true, but it is most likely that President Putin to create a narrative that is in favor of Russia, because Russia, particularly President Putin as a liberator, because the Russians and particularly President Putin have been accused of human rights violations, have been accused of unilaterally engaging in this war, unprovoked war, right? So to change the narrative, to make it a bit positive, so that may be the idea. Okay, then they are talking about the humanitarian corridor, right? So Russia, Ukraine, India is demanding it, USA is demanding it, Germany is demanding it. So in that light, this is there. Now coming to COD. So what happened was that in light, recently COD had taken place. In fact, foreign affairs ministers meet also took place. So given the crisis that has taken place, US President Biden, so he suddenly decided to convene the COD, and the leaders of India, Japan, Australia also came together, right? So they discussed about the Ukrainian crisis. So they talked about creating a new mechanism for humanitarian assistance in the Indo-Pacific and the impact of Ukrainian crisis on the region, right? So both they had discussed over this. So what would be the impact of this thing, Indo-Pacific, of the Ukrainian crisis on Indo-Pacific? I presume one concern would be that if Russia can invade into Ukraine, we were having a simultaneous issue of China being more provocative towards Taiwan in East China Sea region, right? So that can be a reason. Now nobody states it very obviously, but that may be a reason over here. Now one more reason, the basic reason would be that officials say that the COD meeting was held in such a manner to create some sort of a unified voice. We know that the COD members are not on the same page when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia war, especially with reference to India, because India doesn't, India is taking the stand of Russia at this moment, or we know it is on Russia's side. So in this regard, to have some sort of a consensus and unified voice to put pressure on Russia to stop this war. So that is the agenda. Okay, now let us see the question over here. As I said, with reference to COD, that not all countries are on the same page. And we also referred that COD is also directed at China. So in this case, I have a question. COD remains very much a grouping that is for something and not against somebody. So in this case, the somebody, this is an abstract statement. No reference has been given of for something and not against something. So you have to infer this based on your awareness of international affairs. So when we say somebody, if you look at the chord, let me just draw this C, ulta C, inverted C. So this is China. So we have India over here. Then this region is Indo-Pacific. These are the Asian. Here is Australia. We have Japan to the east, and further east we have USA. So all these countries have some sort of a concern with reference to China, right? They have some sort of a dispute. India is also looking to corner China on maritime front because in the northern area, border area, it is not able to do much. Australia, China had tensions. China, Japan has tensions, right? So in that regard, it is seen that Quad has been created as a front against China. And to further validate this point, we can say that earlier there used to be a trilateral naval exercise between India, Japan and USA known as Malabar exercise. Now why would these countries engage in naval exercise, that too in this region over here? Possibly targeting China. Okay, now Australia also came because when the tensions were very high between China and Australia, Australia also decided to merge with them. So that is how Quad came into existence. So 4 countries over here. So they also have their naval exercises. Now instead of Malabar, we called it as Quad exercises. So again, somebody is China in this case, right? So let me just write China over here. Okay. Now the thing is that the Quad members, as we say, it is with reference to China, and the Quad members keep saying this, that their focus of making Quad is to ensure freedom of navigation. So freedom of navigation, that is, the Chinese are claiming this entire South China Sea, and it is passing through an important sea lanes of communication. So the most of the maritime trade, the world trade is passing through this route, which China is claiming over it. So they say that this is international water and we should respect the freedom of navigation of different countries. Then China didn't abide by, China lost, this case, there was a case between the Asian countries and China over the issue of South China Sea. So this went to the Permanent Court of Arbitration. China lost the case. So China is not abiding by the judgment. So they are saying that it is to protect the rules-based order, that is the international system or the world works according to a set of rules. If they stop working according to rules, then there will be conflict and chaos. So rules-based order. And they are also talking about territorial integrity and sovereignty of the states. And here again we have one aggressor country, China, with reference to India, with reference to Asia and South China Sea region, with reference to Japan, Taiwan, we are having this issue. So naturally, when these countries say it seems it is against China in this case. But no country is categorically saying that it is against China. China is very, very shrill on their criticism with reference to this Quad over here, and it says that you are targeting us, it is an alliance against us, you are polarizing the world community over here. So they are not in favor of this. Naturally, they will not like this. So in this case, even India, which has a contest with China, it is not openly saying that it is targeting China. In fact, it is saying that it is not targeted at somebody. This is a statement that was actually given by Mr. Jaishankar, the Foreign Affairs Minister of India. And in this light, in fact, a question was also asked with reference to the changing role of the Quad. Changing role of the Quad. A question was also asked that Quad is not just a military alliance. So yes, Quad is not just a military alliance, and it is quite possible that these countries do have a varying view of what they see of the world. Like for example, now with reference to Ukraine, they have a different viewpoint. So each country is looking at Quad with something and not categorically that everybody has the same view on the same subject. So each has something to offer, and that something could be anything. For example, with reference to Quad, we have that Quad is engaging in multiple domains. It is not just a military thing. Now we have Quad with reference to trade, right? So they are working on having trade partnership. They are working towards infrastructure development, the Blue Dot network, right? So that is there. So they are working towards this. And this is coming under the bracket of Quad Vision for Indo-Pacific, Quad Vision for Technological Governance, right? Technology and governance. So that is with reference to reducing the dependence on 5G. Now again, 5G concern is with reference to China, which is having the hardware of 5G. Right, so basically these are the things. That domain of this is much vast. They have some interest, something, but it is not targeted against somebody. Right, so this is the perspective that you have to share in your answer. Now coming to the next topic, this is basically with reference to the Russia-Ukraine crisis. So there is a committee of the parliament. So in that, the Ministry of External Affairs briefed the parliamentary panel on Russia-Ukraine crisis. Right, so in that regard, they are basically saying that, see, this is our viewpoint. This is why we are abstaining from voting against Russia in the United Nations Security Council or the UNGA. So those are the things. And naturally, the panel members would also question the MEA on the nature of work they have been doing with reference to evacuation, etc. So with reference to this, it is saying, Mr. Rahul Gandhi has said that will China be emboldened by Russian action against Ukraine to take a similar step towards India? Right. So we see that Russia is almost able to get away with the Ukrainian invasion. Nobody is able to do much except for the sanction. So what if China, which is having territorial ambitions with reference to India, like it says that Arunachal and the Ladakh region is part of the Tibet and it should belong to China. So why can't China do this with India also? So what are we doing with reference to this? Then the committee was also briefed on Russia's offensive. Okay, so they briefed them about it, and it said that won't the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine affect Russia's position with China vis-a-vis India? This I have to explain. So basic thing is that China is offering it complete support, right? They are not condemning it, nothing. India still condemned a bit. It says that we have to respect the territorial sovereignty and integrity of the states. But they didn't even do this. We abstained from voting, they also, but they didn't even do that also. And furthermore, they are saying that we will continue with our oil trade that is there. In past also, when the 2014 war of Donbass had taken place, at that time also China offered them a line of credit because of the sanction. They provided some sort of a great support, actually economic support at that time of international condemnation, etc. So China has been very supportive of Russia. So won't this get them much closer, and it will compromise India's interest, especially if China wants to acquire China, gets into conflict with India. In that case, will China support us or Russia support us or not? Because Russia has some deal of influence over China. It is supplying its military, it is supplying its technology, and yes, the boundaries are also contuminous. Right, so in that regard, what can Russia do in this case? So they are saying that Russia knows to balance its relations, value its relations with India. So this is the concern with reference to how India should respond to its situation. So in this light, in what ways the ongoing Ukraine-Russia controversy affects the national interest of India? So we have it over here. So one is that we are to choose between US and Russia, right? US-led bloc and Russia over here, both rivals. We have been able to balance it, but because of this Ukraine-Russia war that is taking place, for India to get that non-aligned policy or strategic autonomy is getting much harder. Now in this regard, we have the US imposing sanctions on Russia. So when US imposes sanction, what about the military hardware, military deals that were there? What about the military planes that are already there or other military hardware? How will we get the spare parts for that thing? Right. So it affects our defense. It affects our defense quite badly, right? It affects our foreign policy with reference to China. I just discussed this China issue over here. Right, so these are the things basically that you have to bring out. And if India goes with Russia, like in this case, then we may face alienation from USA, European Union, right? Because European Union in fact offered Ukraine the membership also. So we may face the ire, and they are great trade partners. They are our partners with reference to the Indo-Pacific region. They are protecting, in the maritime domain, they are helping us contain China. So this is the viewpoint that you have to present. Now, how should India, once you establish this, how should India deal with this scenario? So India has to, we can refer to that India as we can see over here, that the Nehruvian non-alignment, that is being non-aligned. But at the same time, it cannot allow its relations to deteriorate with the US and the West-led bloc. So they must engage in creative diplomacy, right? Creative diplomacy to be able to balance, keeping in view its national security concerns, right? Defense sector. So that has to be done. India can also make a case with the US and the West-led bloc about its concerns over here and why it has to support with the Russia. Right, so in this also Russia, it didn't vote against Russia, but it abstained from voting. So you can see it is actually a middle path that India is choosing at this point of time, and maybe that is the best. In fact, this was actually appreciated by this panel as well. Andhra Pradesh government can't change capital. Okay. So as you know, Andhra Pradesh was, it got bifurcated into Telangana. Hyderabad was the capital, and now Amravati was to be the capital, right? So new capital city was designated for this purpose. Now in this process, during this time, the CM of, when the bifurcation took place, Chandrababu Naidu. Now the CM had changed, and the CM had a very unique idea. He said, what we can do is, we can have 3 capitals instead of 1 capital. So as you have studied, there is, in governance, we have the judicial branch, we have the legislative and the executive. So we have 3 capitals across the state. So that, and the idea is, it seems quite noble actually, because it says that wherever we have development, wherever we have capital, there is more development. So why should it be that a particular area only gets more development and others still remain backward? So for equitable development, we have capitals in 3 areas that are spread out, right? So that gives equal importance to each of these places over here, right? So in this case, let me just do this rationale over here, and then I'll come to this constitutional point of view as to why the High Court said other way around. Okay, so he's saying that we may have the 3 capitals. Now you think about this, the concerns associated with it. What are we? We are a parliamentary democracy. The legislature, when the legislature is functioning, the ministers have to be there. They cannot be away from their ministries also at the same time. That is why Delhi has everything, New Delhi of our, right? So it may not be feasible, it may not be practical, it may become very difficult for the bureaucracy also to be spread out. So it may actually put more resources on the burden on the state as well. So there is a concern in this regard. Now here we have a question that, it went to the court. Somebody challenged this and it went to the High Court with reference to the powers of the state legislature. If the state legislature has the competence to shift, bifurcate or trifurcate the capital. So in this article, all we have is that the High Court said that no, the state legislature does not have the power. Then who has the power? Naturally, even if it is not said, it is the parliament over here. So again, I didn't get it. I did more research, but when this case was being heard, and we have studied in the Lakshmikant also, that there are basically 3 articles. Article 2, Article 3 and Article 4. What does Article 2 say? Article 2 says that for any territory that is outside of the boundaries of a country, right, the territory of India, anything that is from the outside is incorporated into India. So for that purpose, to give it statehood or make it union territory, the power is coming from Article 2 of the Constitution. For any other thing, for example, the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana or Jammu and Kashmir. So that is coming from Article 3 of the Constitution, which allows for the reorganization of the state. And from here itself comes the power of changing the capital also, changing the name of the capital also. So that again is not with the State legislature. There is no specific reference of the capital, but we imply that it is with the state legislature. It is not with the state legislature, rather it is with the parliament. The power is flowing from Article 3 of the Constitution. And what does Article 4 says? Article 4 simply says that, see, these are an amendment to the Constitution. So the names of the state is mentioned in, I think it's mentioned in Schedule 2 of the Constitution. Right, the list of the names, territories of India is listed in the Constitution. So if you change the name or you do anything, or change the boundaries also, you're making an amendment to the Constitution also. But it will not be deemed as an amendment to the Constitution in the sense that that process of amending the Constitution, right, requiring special majority, 2/3 majority present and voting, so that will not be applicable. Right, so that is what it is saying. So by simple majority, it can be done. All that the state legislature can do is that state legislature can pass a resolution. So they can pass a resolution, it goes to the parliament for parliament to consider and vote upon this. So the earlier chief minister got the state legislature to pass a resolution. So it is only the domain of the parliament over here. Now coming to this Mekedatu project, right? So this can be asked in your prelims. So it is with reference to Karnataka, the elections that are going to take place. So the Indian National Congress, it is organizing a movement, it is organizing a Padyatra with reference to this project. So they are saying that this Mekedatu project is very, very important, and it is important for supplying the drinking water for the city of Bangalore. So about 30% of the Bangalore population is yet to get Kaveri water. What does this mean? It means that this Mekedatu project is associated with river Kaveri, right? It is a location along Kaveri. And so here the water will be stored and it will provide drinking water supply to the people in Bangalore. Right, so it is Kaveri water. You can see the image over here. So Mekedatu means goats leap in Kannada. So basic thing is, if you can see, it is a deep gorge, right? At this place it is not very deep, but here slightly deep. And it is very, very narrow. So it means the goats leap in Kannada. Right, so this is it. Find space for new science, its ethical dilemmas. I'll do this, right? I'll do this and then I'll discuss the question and some more situations, because this topic is specifically limited to xenotransplantation, but there are many other developments that are taking place in the fields of science, and even though they are good, there are certain ethical concerns. So we'll discuss this particular issue and then we will extrapolate this further. Okay, so he's saying that elections are taking place and everything is there, but still we are not talking about the advances of the modern sciences and the repercussions. So that we are not doing. So recently Ray-Ban Facebook Smart, some glasses were there, so that smart glasses, you can imagine there can be a camera in that and they can also record audio. So this seems cool, it seems very fanciful, but it is encroaching upon the right to privacy. It's privacy on the person, you don't know you're being recorded at that point of time. Right, so that's what it is saying. It may be cool, it may be creepy also at the same time. So it's going with this attitude, that chalta hai attitude. We are not thinking about it as to what will be the implications on the humanity over here. And now it is telling us about a recent development with reference to xenotransplantation. Xenotransplantation is basically, we have this organ. We want an organ donor, maybe some organ failure is there and it has to be changed. So it could be kidney, it could be human heart, anything. So transplanting it from the animals. So animal like pig's kidney, getting it into the human body. Pig is considered to be very, very close to human beings in terms of organs. Likewise heart. So in fact, an heart surgery was also done where the heart was replaced by an animal this thing. And we can also have that the animals, by means of stem cell, animals are harvesting human organs within themselves. Okay, I think when I'm saying this, some ethical issues would be coming to your mind as well. Okay, so this is there. So they are talking about that an animal kidney there was a testing that would have been done in USA, where a person was brain dead. So in that, a kidney from a gene edited animal, right? I told you human organs being harvested in the animal. So gene edited animal was put into a human body, and it was seeing that if it performed the task of processing waste and producing urine, right? So all this is taking place over here. Now in this case, is this practice ethical, right? That is the question, and this is basically applied ethics. So a particular development, anything it could be, and its application, is it ethical or not? So when we assess this branch of science is known as applied ethics. Okay, so we have that we need organ donors. People's lives are under threat naturally, or organs are not working, you will die at the end of it. There is scarcity of organ donors. Then it is also leading to the mafia of black marketing and forgetting the word, certainly. Okay, there's crime syndicates basically, right? So those are working, human trafficking is taking place, in organ trade is taking place, illegal, so that is taking place. Okay, so this is taking place. So we will be able to address this over here, right? In this regard, we'll be able to address this. But at the same time, if we look at it, the concerns over here, what about the rights of the animal? To save a human being, you are killing another. To save a living being, you are killing another living being, right? So animals also have rights. So animal rights over here. Now somebody would say that animals are not that important. First we have to think about it from the point of view of human beings. But this approach is basically anthropocentrism. That is, we are centering human beings as the center of the creation, and everything is secondary to it. And this is maybe primary reason as to why we have the degradation of the earth at this point of time, right? So climate change is taking place, ozone depletion, and so many other things are taking place as a result of this. So this represents a classic utilitarian dilemma. Utility of this, right? So where ends justify the means. It was given by Bentham and Mill. So ends justify that it is leading to a good cause, it is leading to saving of mean. So for that purpose, even if somebody dies in that process, an animal dies, then also it is justified, right? Illegal mafia and all those things are getting checked over here. But we also have the deontological view where the ends do not justify the means, right? So means are very, very important, and this is amounting to killing. You don't want the same to happen with you. So in that, that is the system that was created by Kant, that you act in a way that you expect others to act with you also. So that is the thing over here. And what about from the point of view of religion? A person's religion, like Jain or a Jew or a Muslim, right? So in that case, what about that? The religion may forbid certain things. So in light of this, you can analyze this issue. Now, we'll take this a bit further because there are so many other developments taking place in the realm of science. So recent developments in new sciences, even though has potential to transform humanity, has also brought to the forefront new ethical dilemmas. Substantiate with examples. This could be 150 words actually, or it could be 250, but even you can do this in 150 also. Yeah, so some inventions. We have the gadgets, right? Let me just erase this. We have gadgets like these, right? So this is there. We have to think about this. Should it be there or not? The use of drones, the ethical concerns associated with it. What about the BT cotton? BT cotton and that genetically modified crops. Let me write GM crops only. So GM crops, for example, BT cotton. So you're playing the role of the god. You're changing nature over here. There may be side effects of this, or BT brinjal. You are eating this. So people are eating this without knowing that it may have a pesticide inherent in it. So ethical dilemma over here. Then what about nuclear technology? A technology that could be, even if we say that it is not being used for arms, it is only being military, but it is only used for civil purposes, a nuclear power plant. But there is an ethical dilemma that it may lead to a chaos, a blast or something, and the people who are living nearby, particularly, they may be more endangered as compared to others. Right, so this is there. Then one more I'll add, the fourth industrial revolution, artificial intelligence, big data analytics, Internet of Things. We are getting more and more technology driven. What about, the CCTV capturing of photos, images, everything, our privacy, what is happening to that? Our data is being taken all through without our knowledge. Then with reference to artificial intelligence, the job loss that may take place because of technology, efficiency, improved quality of life, at the same time loss of jobs. So that may be taking place. Then very interesting application of Tesla, that automated cars, self-driving cars. So that is a new trend. Now with reference to the car, what if somebody comes in front of the car? Whom does the car save? Does it save the car itself and kills the person next, hit the person who came in front of the car? Does it prioritize the safety of the passengers over the safety of other people? So there are certain ethical dilemmas. You may automate and do whatever you want, but at the same time, there will be ethical consequences over here. So, and when I say dilemmas, it's not choosing between what is right and wrong, actually. It is more about what is less wrong between the two wrongs. That is actually the dilemma where you really have to think about things. Okay, so this is the question. You have to give some examples, 3 examples or something. You just give and bring out the ethical perspectives on that. Now coming to the business section, most of it was politics and then international. So trade deficit seen high, we know this, right? Petrol, gold, same things are there. So because of this, it is taking place. Finance Ministry said to plan daily review of government finances. And now because of the stock market crash, LIC IPO is not taking place. So again, our fiscal deficit will also increase, right? More money is also going out of the country. Even if it is current account deficit, fiscal deficit will increase. The government's scope of taxation from crude, the petrol and petrol diesel also will come down because of high inflation. In fact, inflation and low industrial productivity, that is a concern. Gas, aluminium prices hit records. Oil, wheat, soar, right? So same issues over here. Relief for crisis hit, exporters on evil. Let's see what will happen over here. Yes, simple things. We will provide them subsidy. We will provide them cheap loans. Same more things. So this is it from my side. This is all this analysis covers. So thank you for streaming in to IASPrimers with me, Shubhashish Rehal. Bye bye, take care and all the best.